We're going to make a barley chicken wild rice stew, not soup. It's going to be nice and heavy, filling, and it's a feel-good type of meal. Nothing fancy about it, just tasting good. Onions, carrots, celery, barley, wild rice, and organic thyme. It doesn't matter if it says organic. And sage to give it that festive flavor. So we're going to take the chicken legs and we're going to boil them up with the skin and throw the bay leaves and the herbs right in there, so later when we don't have to chop anything up. This will cook along in there for about 45 minutes to an hour. And the skin, if you really don't want the chicken fat, then boil this up skinless, but it just gives an awful lot of flavor. I'm going to get started right now. Just cover the chicken with water and put all those herbs in there. Then after the chicken is well cooked, it'll come off the bone nice and easy. And we'll have little pieces of chicken to break up into the barley soup with the wild rice. Wild rice in there, it's good for you. Plus, for color, you have the wild rice, which is dark, the barley, which is light. And that's it. The second this comes to a boil, I'm going to cover it up and let it simmer. And I will put in there just a little bit of sea salt, so later when I taste the stock, that's a good sea salt too. So an hour has passed. I'm going to remove the chicken and strain everything that's in there through the chinois. And then go about sauteing the vegetables. You can use a whole chicken too. Just 3 pounds. And you can use just breast, but you won't get the flavor. Whole chicken will give you more flavor than just the legs, which is the best to use. So find yourself a 3-pound chicken, 3 to 4 pounds, no problem. So I'm going to strain this. Through this chinois, this fine mesh strainer, and we'll go about finishing up here. So this took 1 hour. Well, that took a minute to clean. Put some olive oil in there. You can use butter. You can use butter and olive oil. And it's a lot of vegetables, but you know what? You have a cross here between a vegetable stock and a chicken stock. Plus they look good. Diced up small. You can go smaller, you can go a little larger. Whatever's easier for you. It really doesn't matter that much. You're not out to impress anybody. You just want something that's going to taste good. And after we sweat this up for a few minutes, I'm going to add the rice and the barley, which should cook in the same amount of time, just about. And it really doesn't matter if the rice gets overcooked. But this is like a stew, so if it's thick and sticky, that's a good thing. we can season this now or later. The stock is sitting right here, strained. And if you really don't want the chicken fat that comes off of the legs or the chicken itself, just rip off all the skin, remove all the fat, and then boil up your chicken. We're not looking for color here, we're just sweating up the vegetables. That's a good amount. But then again, the volume you see here, it's going to shrink to about 2/3 of that once it's cooked. Have a cup of coffee while you're working on it, or a glass of wine. Alright, I'm going to shut this film off because I don't want to waste film just watching me split up the vegetables. Now, most of my recipes, it's like on the fly. I've never made this before. Similar things, yeah. So, I'm thinking that the 3 pounds of chicken is enough. Now, when this is all said and done, if it's not, it will be corrected on the recipe. You can just look at it and see if there's enough chicken when it's done. So that's no problem. And that would be the only problem. Now we're going to add the barley and the rice. And this should fill this up quite nicely. Once everything expands, it's not necessary to mix this up. I'm just doing it for the heck of it. And I kept the stock over here hot. So as soon as I pour that in there, this is going to start cooking right away. Now, if there happen to be too much stock, well, that's impossible if you just covered the chicken. And this, I know, is not enough. So all you have to do is add water just to cover everything. And once this comes to a boil, you're going to simmer it. And with the lid on, there's going to be very little reduction. The steam goes into the lid and the moisture goes right back into the pot. And especially when you have a nice tight lid on it, you know what they say, keep a lid on it. Sorry for the little pun there. Alright, so I just bring this to a boil. As you see what there is, you know that barley is going to expand like 5 times that size and the rice 4 times. So this is going to be nice and thick. It better be when I'm done. Bring it to a boil and we'll let it simmer for about 45 minutes. Real slow simmer. 45 minutes and then I'm going to check it. Well, it's been 40 minutes and as you see, it's reduced. I shouldn't say it's reduced. It's been absorbed by the barley and the rice. So we're going to add enough just to cover it. And allow it to continue to cook. And now I'm going to start working on the chicken. I'm just going to take it off the bone since it's cooled off. And this is not quite ready yet. It's coming along very nice. It's going to be nice and heavy. That's what I'm looking for on these cold nights. A nice plate of this with the chicken. We have 1 hour and 15 minutes. And this is done. See? Not a soup. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Just the way I wanted it. As long as you keep the liquid level just to the top, as this is cooking, it'll come out this way. Nice. A little more salt. You do this to taste. You've tasted it with no seasoning, then you add a little salt, and then you taste it again, and you notice how the flavor changes. The same thing with the hot sauce. Now for the chicken, this is all the chicken that's shredded. Much nicer to use dark meat. If you use breast, it's kind of dry. The dark meat can take a lot of, let's say, extra cooking. Now I already know that I'm going to mix this up real good, put some on the plate, look at the amount of chicken, and I know already that I'm going to increase what I cooked for the recipe. Because if you look at it now, you see a lot more of the barley and the rice, not so much the chicken. But still in all, this will be a tasty dish. And I will figure this is going to make about 5 quarts. And with another 2 pounds of chicken, it'll be like 6 quarts. And when I eat items like this, I eat a half a quart at a time, which is plenty. And this you can freeze with no problem. So it goes a long way. Now just put some on a plate. If you want, you can add some chopped parsley to this, scallions, whatever you like. It has to simmer for a couple of minutes after you add the chicken to bring the temperatures equal. Because you're adding something that's room temperature to something that's cooking. So that's what you want to do. And that's all I'm going to eat. How's that? I hope you enjoy this. Remember, it's not a soup, it's like a stew. Has a nice aroma too. Enjoy.